Ba, 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 ba. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode again, or pretty much another video. And thanks for having to take your time and watch these videos. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And of course, I would love to hear what are your views or your thoughts on any of the videos that I'm posting. Uh, yeah, pretty much let's chop it up in the comment section. And let's take it there just to see and hear what are your views, what are your standing points, what are your your pay view, or pretty much your whole perspective with regard to some of the topics, some of the topic question statements that I post. So yeah, I would love to hear from you. So without any waste of time, previously I've did a video on sex, and I've said it from my very first video, and I said, look, I'll do videos that they touch on things that I want to learn, things that I'm more interested in, things that they pretty much are more of a learning curve for us, and sex being one of them. And today I would love to touch on that as well. And there's pretty much some interesting research that has been done, and I would love to hear your views with that as well. So it goes as follows. So one of those things that you'd find that when you're doing research, they just pop up. So it's one of those things. So and again, part of the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm growing up. I'm trying to understand women even more. I'm trying to understand myself even more, given that the framing of sex, or how we introduced to sex, it was a different approach altogether. So I'm trying to understand that as well, my psychological response towards it, and the other sex figure towards that response as well, especially when you look at opposite sex intercourse, or opposite, or two opposite partners, when they have to do the deed, which is sex. So yeah, this was something that was pretty much interesting for me. So I would love to hear your views. So it goes as saying, things that happen to your body when you don't have sex for a while. This is interesting. It says, sex though often is still a very taboo subject, is an important part of health. It is a way to express yourself, deepen a connection with another person, which is pretty much true. That I agree. Given the fact that as much as you start having sex, or you haven't had sex for quite some time with your partner, or the person that you're dating, or whatever partners that you have, the minute you start having that sex, you connect even more. There's more room for communication, for that matter. Communication expands. One feels comfortable to share, feels comfortable enough to be vulnerable. So that's one thing that I've noticed about sex as well. So it further says, we go through periods of life where we are either focused on other things, or we have simply decided to take a break from the act of having sex. Have you ever wondered what happens to your body when you haven't had sex for a while? There are some things that you might experience. So it goes as follows. One is increased stress. So increased stress level, they kind of like pile up when you don't have sex for quite some time. It says sex helps relieve stress and lowers your cortisol. Your cortisol, I think, is the stress nerve. Yeah, I think that's your cortisol. Your body releases cortisol, which can increase your blood pressure and heart rate. Of course, so if you don't exercise, the act of having sex, your cortisol could contribute into other things. And then that's one. And then number two, it goes as follows. Number two, it says your decreased libido. When you are hungry or thirsty, the longer you go without eating or drinking, the hungrier and the thirstier we get. Sex is not like that. The longer you go without, the more you tend to get used to live without it. This is true. And the less you feel that you need it, the better you feel like you don't need sex. And the more your libido goes down, like -1. Because I mean, like, you don't need these things. So why? Because from my understanding, and I would love to hear your view on this, I think the more you interact or you act on this sex thing, the more your libido. But the less you interact, the less your libido is, if that makes sense. Given the fact that obviously stress levels are kind of piled up, so hence your libido is a bit down as well, which is, yeah. And it further says, okay, I think this is for women. It says a dry vaginal wall or a weak pelvic wall. I don't know what that is, but I think I've heard of it before, but I'm not sure. But I would love to hear from you. What is a pelvic floor? Okay, this has turned into a bit of a myth that the vagina becomes tighter if you don't have intercourses for a long time. I'd love to hear that from women. This is 100% false. What happens, however, is that the vaginal wall becomes drier and also your pelvic floor can become weaker. This is called vaginal atrophy. Okay, I would love to hear this from women or from our gynas or anyone in that field. It further says to help prevent this, perform pelvic floor strengthening exercises and consider getting a pelvic floor trainer. There are trainers to keep your vaginal wall not dry or your pelvic floor not weak. So there are trainers. Take initiative, ladies out there. And then another one, it's your decreased immunity. Research shows that those who have regular sex tend to have better immunity, like stamina and all those other things. This is likely for a variety of reasons. First of all, sex increases your oxytocin. Oxytocin, it's that what it's more like dopamine, but it's not dopamine, but it, it's that hormone. I forgot, but it's a hormone that breeds and that lives on getting satisfaction or fulfillment. Yeah, if that makes sense. Your oxytocin, which decreases stress and makes you feel happy. Yeah, we all know that less stress, happy people get sick less often if you are less stressed. Sex also tends to help people sleep better. So sfunulala, that's why you need this thing. Or that's why you need this thing as well. I mean, like, after, maybe you guys will testify unto this. After having sex, you know, your body tends to relax. It often wants to sleep as well. So yeah, this makes sense for me. And then there's this one as well that says, um, it says, I think I've touched on. There's this one I say, okay, it says, I think this is our sixth or number 6 of these 7 things that happen to you when you don't have sex for a while. It takes longer to become wet the next time you do have sex. Okay, I think this goes for ladies as well. Why the vagina is a self lubricating organ. If you haven't had sex for a while, it might take a touch longer to become fully wet when you finally have intercourse. Don't let this worry or stress you out. Though, just relax. Ensure your partner gives you a proper warm up. Hence, this is important. Hence, in the last video that I did, I said we spoke about spontaneous sex drive versus responsive sex drive. So, if you as a lady, you task us responsibility in saying, look, this is what I want. Like, as I've said, be as clear as possible to the knot so that you know how to go about in warming you up and how to go about in making you wet so that you could respond well into this sexual activity that we are about to do. And of course, this is for male and female sex intercourse. And I'm not, excluding any other sexual interests or sexual partners that are there. But for this, it's strictly for those two, male and female. And then that's our number six, a factor or aspect there. Last one, if I'm not mistaken, it's touch starvation. This refers to a lack of physical human connection. While it is often referred to a sexual context, the reality is that it doesn't have to be only sexual. This can happen to those who don't receive hugs, or other forms of non-sexual physical touch from friends or family. Skin-to-skin contact releases oxytocin, again, that happy hormone that breeds on satisfaction and fulfillment, particularly in a sexual context. When deprived of this, you crave that kind of connection known as touch starvation. You're also more likely to get sick and feel emotionally upset. Okay. Yeah, I think there's a lot that can be unveiled on this aspect alone. So yeah. So let me hear from you. Let me hear from you on what your thoughts are when it comes to things that happen to you, or things that happen to your body when you haven't had sex for quite some time, and maybe you might be proved to that. I mean, sometime I think it's relative. Some a week, some months, some hours, some years. So a while could be different across all different humans. So please just share your thoughts and let's chop it up in the comment sections. And yeah, I appreciate hearing more with regard to this. I mean, like, we're growing up people, we need to understand ourselves better, understand ourselves even more when it comes to other relationships that are more of a taboo topics, if I may say. And yeah, just for health purposes as well, because I think sex is part of health. Sex is part of a human element that is there, that will forever be there. And yeah, so as I've said, please let's try to chop it up in the comment section, and I'd love to hear your thoughts or your views on some of the things that you've underwent or undergone when it comes to your body or anything. Yeah, when it comes to your body, of course, when you haven't had sex for quite some time. So please don't forget to subscribe and chop it up in the comment section. Peace out.